Alright, so today what we're going to be working on are transformation of the log functions. Okay, so I'd like you to put me on pause and do the try this, which is identifying the transformations. Then come back and check your answers. Okay, so let's see here what we have. It says identify the transformation that maps f of x to g of x if f of x is equal to 2 to the x power. So that's my parent function. Alright, so if I have here g of x equals 2 to the x minus 3, so I'm minusing 3 from my y value, that would be down 3. Next one, g of x equals 2 to the x plus 4. I'm adding 4 to my x value. Remember that goes opposite, does not go to the right, it goes opposite the way you think it would go. So it's to the left 4. Number 3, g of x equals negative 2 to the x power. So I'm doing opposite. I'm changing my y value. Remember, that's my y value. I'm changing my y value to its opposite. So that's, when you change y to its opposite, that's a reflection over the x-axis. Okay, number 4. G of x equals 2 to the x minus 3 plus 1. So I'm minusing 3 from my x. So that would be to the right 3. And then I'm adding 1 to my y value, so that would be up 1 unit. Okay, number 5, g of x equals negative 2 raised to the x minus 2 power. So again, I first have to do my exponent because order matters. Okay, so follow PEMDAS, so it's to the right 2. And I'm changing my y to its opposite, so that's a reflection over the x-axis. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing with our logs here. Okay, so we have given f of x is equal to log base a of x. So a vertical shift. Vertical shifts would be changing your x, changing your y value. So put in your parentheses changes y. So that would be adding onto your y value, so that would be plus b at the end. So remember, if b is greater than 0, it shifts it 0. It shifts up. If b is less than 0, it shifts down. Horizontal shifts are left and right. That changes your x value. So that would be in your parentheses x plus b, so that you're adding or subtracting just from your x value. If b is greater than 0, so that would be a plus b, that means it shifts to the left. Remember, opposite to the way you think. If b is less than 0, so it would be minus b, that shifts it to the right. Okay, reflection over the x-axis, you negate y. So remember that rule, a reflection over the x-axis, xy becomes x comma negative y. So your negative would go right in front of the log. So it'd be, it's right in front of the log. So it'd be f of x is equal to negative log base a of x. I had to rewrite it because I couldn't fit it. And the last one, reflection over the y-axis, that negates x. So remember the rule for reflection over the y-axis. xy becomes negative x comma y. So it changes x to its opposite. So it would be f of x is equal to log base a of negative x. Okay, and remember from the other day when we graphed our logs that your log always goes through 1, 0. So this is your basic log function. What it looks like, quick. All right, so this is log, goes through 1, 0. Okay, and remember this would be your asymptote, your y-axis would be your asymptote. Okay, so that's x is equal to 0. All right, so flip it over. Okay, so it says name the transformation that maps f of x to g of x. Under the given transformation, state the domain, the vertical asymptote, any of your intercepts, so you should have x-intercepts, and sketch a graph of the function. All right, so we have here log, here's my parent function, log equal, f of x equals log base 4 of x. So just really quickly what that looks like, remember goes through 1, 0. And then it would also go through 4, 1. So it would look like this. Okay, so now I have y equals log base 4 of negative x plus 2. So it's a reflection over the y-axis, and then it's up 2. So I'm going to reflect over the y-axis. So you're going to count the boxes. So we're going to graph this. So reflect over the y, so it's 1. So I'm starting here. Count to the y-axis is 1. Flip over the y-axis. I get 1, and then it's up 2. 1, 2. And then let's do the other point here. I'm starting here. So I'm flipping over the y-axis. So it's 4 boxes to the y-axis. Flip over. Go 4 boxes, and then up 2. And my graph will look like this. Okay, so let's see. My domain, right, is coming from negative infinity to 0. My vertical asymptote is x equals 0. And my x-intercept, so you could do that on the calculator, right? It's finding your 0 on the calculator. Be negative 0.06, comma 0. Okay, let's try the next one. All right, so I have y equals log base 3 of x. So just a quick sketch of that. So it goes through 1, 0 and 3, 1. All right, so now I have g of x is equal to negative log base 3 of x minus 4. So it's a reflection over the x-axis because my y value is changing. Reflect over the x-axis. And then it's down 4. Okay, so I'm going to start on this point here. So I reflect over the x-axis. I'm in the same exact point. So now I'm going to go down 4. So I'm here. And now I'm here. Reflect over the x-axis. So that's going to put me at 3, negative 1, and then go down 4. Puts me here. So your graph will look like this. Okay, so I used a fatter pen because I was having a hard time graphing that. All right, so let's see, my domain. So now my domain is from 0 to infinity. My vertical asymptote is x equals 0, so the asymptote didn't change. And my x-intercept, so you could do that in the calculator to graph it, and that'd be 0.01, comma 0. All right, and let's try the last one. So let's graph y equals log base 5 of x. And that would be, so I have 1, 0 and 5, 1. So your graph looks like this. All right, so now let's see what we have. We have 2 plus, that means I'm adding 2 to my y value. So I'm going up 2 and to the left 7. So up 2, to the left 7. So I'm going to start on this point. I'm going to go up 2 to the left 7. So count 7. And same thing, I'm going to go from here, go up 2, and to the left 7. Now, so So that means my asymptote changed. So since this point here went over to the left 7, that means my asymptote has to go over to the left 7, which is going to put my asymptote right here. Okay, so my graph will look like this. So my domain is from -7 to infinity. My vertical asymptote is x equals -7, and my x-intercept is -6.96, 0. Okay, so that's it, and have a good night.